Hello, good evening. Tonight, we're going to for my second review from Swiss watch. We're go Japanese naman. Let's go and review. Said the 70th Orient anniversary of one of their earlier dive watches, which is the Orient Weekly King Diver reissue. This is basically a reissue of their weekly King Diver Orient dive watch that was released in 1965 to 1969 with a reference number of 19410. Yeah, but first let's discuss about Orient and why I like Orient. Orient Watch Company is really contrary to what others are saying, that's just another Seiko subsidiary. It actually started as early as 1901 we can trace the roots, which was known as the Orient Watch Company, from Shogoro Yoshida, a Japanese watchmaker, famously known in Japan, in Tokyo, for making pocket watches, watch cases, gauges. So basically, all things measuring time and also other measuring instrumentation and display. He also made clocks, bigger clocks. It was a thriving business until World War II happened. And after World War II, like all businesses of that time, everything grinds to a halt. And Yoshida's businesses ended. After World War II, revival of Orient Watch Company happened. So it got reformed, and it is now what we know as the Orient Watch Company. Around 2021, they started coming out with the 70th anniversary of the company by reissuing their classic watches from the 1960s up until contemporary times of the 80s. So, series siya. So, it's a series of watches. With that, one of the watches they've reissued last year was the Orient Weekly King Diver reissue. Something about the name, something that's lost in translation with Japanese. When you say weekly, that's their translation of Monday to Sunday. It's just saying that that the watch has got a day and date. The weekly is the 7 days of the week, and then the auto is basically the automatic watch as it is. I'm smitten with the compressor type watches, and let's just ask why Orient. Orient is like the smaller brother of Seiko. If Rolex has Tudor as their little brother, Seiko naman has got a little brother called Orient. Now Orient comes from one of the three Seiko subsidiaries. Namely, Seiko has three main companies kasi, three main subsidiaries Seiko Epson, where Orient belongs as one of the smaller companies. Seiko Epson also produces the printers that we know that we use. So that's owned by Seiko. Another one is Seiko Holdings Corporation. Correct me if I'm wrong, put it on the comments. I think Seiko Holdings is what the main Seiko watch company belongs to. And then lastly, Seiko Instruments. I'm not sure exactly what Seiko Instruments comprises. Maybe it's the industrial instruments. I'm not sure. Or maybe that's where Seiko Watch Holdings. If you know, please educate me. I'm interested with that. Well, one thing for sure though, the Orient Watch Company belongs to Seiko Epson. As a matter of fact, the watch we're going to review today, at the back, it has a Seiko Epson marking there. Epson word is in there. So marking that it belongs to that Seiko Epson subsidiary. Yeah, so that's the background around Orient. Now, why do I like Orient? Orient watches are, for me, a great bang for the buck um, watch uh, watch brand. The best for me, even probably better than Seiko, their big brother, in terms of value proposition. All their watches are in-house movements. Imagine, when you look at the Swiss watch, you've got third party Swiss movement, and you still like it. You're still willing to pay good money for it. With with Orient, all their watches are in-house movements, and though it's not COSC, because of course they're Japanese, it's not COSC certified. It's very very accurate. As a matter of fact, this weekly Orient King Diver reissue that I have, for 3 weeks it went faster than 3 minutes, 3 or 4 minutes. How good was that? It's in a watch winder, because I use it often. 3 weeks, and it goes faster than the actual time clock by 4 minutes. That's not bad. I don't know how many seconds per day that is, but that's pretty accurate for an automatic watch. Another thing too, the servicing of these in-house movements. I've researched. I haven't had my Japanese watches serviced yet, but it's easier. From my research, it's easier to find people that can service these watches than a Swiss movement. The cost is also lower. So again, just as good in terms of function, but less maintenance and upkeep. How can you say no to that, diba? For the money, it gives you more for each dollar. The indices, they're actually very very detailed, and also the style. Something about the Japanese kanji, made in Japan. It's just precision, craftsmanship. For the money, it's so good. Yeah. Uh, they've also produced contemporary classics like the Bambino, the Orient Kamasu Dive Watch, the Orient Mako, amongst others. They're all not that expensive, but they look great. They look more expensive than what they really are. Quite simply, Orient makes great watches and priced so affordably that it's already secondary yung price eh. I actually appreciate that they're so well made, and being affordable is just second. It's second advantage, and that's how good it is. So yeah, I like it. Yeah. Now let's discuss the weekly Auto Orient King Diver. Originally released in 1965, 17th anniversary edition. They reissued uh, the watch that looks like the compressor. Now, what is a compressor case anyway? A compressor case is, right in the 1960s, companies like Longines company like Longines released the Longines Legend Diver, compression case type, with two crowns, one on the 2 o'clock, one on the 4 o'clock. The 2 o'clock adjusts the internal bezel. The 4 o'clock adjusts the time, date, and also the day, if there is any. In this case, the Longines Legend Diver didn't even have a date, which actually is very good. I had one before, but I found what's limiting and why I sold it back is the Longines Legend Diver's lugs are spread out. There's an overhang. It doesn't curve inward, and as such, it doesn't look good in my wrist. My wrist is not big enough for that. This is why I sold it, and eventually I was looking for a compressor type diver. There's a JLC, but it's too thick and too expensive, out of my budget. So I waited, and there you go. The Orient Weekly King Diver reissue. It's perfect. Uh, when you say super compressor, what is a super compressor? Super compressors are the type of casing that uses the water pressure. the water pressure itself, to press against the case back, and it presses against the case back against the O-ring itself. So basically, the water pressure presses it inside and causes it to be waterproof. The case back pressing into the O-ring seals. This was designed by Irvin Piqueres, SA. As such, that's where the EPSA case super compressors come in. And also that's why the name, hence the name super compressor. It super compresses itself in the case. So that's what that super compressor meaning type of dive watches is. Around about the 1960s, it was a big hit. And it has that very, very, that flagship look of those two crowns in the 2 o'clock and the 4 o'clock. It's very good. I really like it. Now, one thing that makes the Orient Weekly King Diver reissue superior is, as I've mentioned, the lugs. Something that they've copied, or they've learned from their big brother Seiko. The lugs curve inward. Hence why, even though at that time it was 42 millimeters, a bit bigger than your normal dive watch of that time, it still looks great. Now, just to feature with you what the original Orient Weekly King Diver was in 1965-1969, this is how it looks like. See, it's very, very classy. And when it was released, it's mostly in Japan. You can see the kanji weekly or day in the 6 o'clock and the date on the 3 o'clock area. So it's very good. It's very nice. And one thing I also like about it is the broad arrow hour hand. Yeah. The hour hand is a broad arrow, reminiscent of the classic compressor type, super compressor type watches of that time. You could find a lot of French and Swiss compressor micro brands that's got this same style. It's all heavily influenced by the Longines Legend Diver. Admittedly, one of the original. And it's now reissued as well. So they're all coming back. Okay. Again, that's the original 1965 to 1969 Weekly Auto Orient King Diver. Reference 19410. Very beautiful. Now, you can still buy one. And I really wanted to buy one. When I saw the Longines Legend Diver, I wanted to buy an original, a vintage one. But I got scared when I did the research. Apparently, a lot of them are mostly in Japan. When I saw some in eBay, and they cost around from 1,500 Australian dollars to around 3,500. Some even 5,000. The really well made one, $5,000. You know, but if you factor in the shipping and the taxes concerned in getting it over to Australia, it's very exorbitant for the more preserved ones, the $3,000 to $5,000. And at the same time, if you're gonna buy something that's beat up, I've researched the movement. It's hard to find parts for the movement. So nah, I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna be waiting. I'm just gonna be waiting for the right one to come, maybe a reissue. Lo and behold, just after a year or so, the reissue came in. So what does the reissue look like? Let's take a look at it right now. I would call this the re-unboxing because obviously I've used it already. I bought it around 6 months ago. I put it all in the box again so that you can see when it came. So this is the Orient 70th edition anniversary. Look, the 70th anniversary is more for the Orient Watch Company, not for the watch. The watch came out around 1965 to 1969. Let's open it. So it came with this box, typical with the Orient and Seiko. Very, very humble packaging. 70th, that's the 70th anniversary for Orient. It also came with a pouch, with a garment bag. It's actually pretty nice, the garment bag, but I haven't used it. It's more of like I just kept it. No need to use it if I don't need it. And ta-da! That's it. You've got that. Beautiful. And because it's Sunday today, you can see the kanji, the weekly or the day, as the weekly indicator, which is the day, Sunday, is in kanji characters, Japanese characters, in red. Let's open. Beautiful. Oops. I should really buy gloves. Okay. Yes, very nice. Broad arrow. Oh, by the way, when this was reissued, they came in variety of colors. Okay. This one, the one I chose was the burgundy face, burgundy dial, red dial or burgundy. The reference number for this red was, let me just get this right. RN, that's Romeo November, phonetic alphabet. Alpha Alpha, 0D for Delta, 02R, R maybe for red. So again, RN, AA, 0D, 02R for Romeo. So yeah, that's made in Japan. There's also one that's made in, I'm not sure if it's made in China, or I'm not sure where it is, but the difference is, and you would know what is not a JDM, is the day indicator or the weekly indicator, the way they define it, the day indicator on the 6 o'clock is English, not kanji. Now for me, if I'm going to get one, it has to be the JDM. That's what makes it beautiful, because the original has got the kanji. You can't go wrong with the kanji. See? Yeah. All right. Beautiful. Now, the original is 42 millimeter. The new one is 43.8. It's almost 44, but it wears nicely. Okay. At the back, it has the diver, the skin diver. By the way, the original is only 40 millimeter water resistant. It's not even ISO certified. But because before, these super compressor types were used by skin divers. Skin divers only dive within 10 meters to 40 meters. They seldom go past 40 meters, spear fishing and all that. So that's really the limit that it has before, and it was more than sufficient. Now this reissue still retains that compressor look, obviously. Still retains the skin diver. I don't know if it's hard to see, That's a skin diver there. Let me just, okay, this way. Hopefully you can see it. That's a skin diver. And it even has an Epson made in Japan. Oh, so yeah. Skin divers, not that deep. But this one is 200 meters. The Longines Legend diver that I used to have is 300 meters. So it's higher. And that also has, the Longines Legend diver also has a screw-in crown. This one is not ISO certified because it's not a screw-in crown. However, don't make that screw-in crown. Don't let the lack of screw-in crown make you think that it's inferior. A screw-in crown helps, right? But it's not the main definition of the water resistance rating of any watch. It does help, but you could have a high water resistance rating, waterproofing, even if you don't have a screw-in crown. As a matter of fact, without a screw-in crown, 200 meters water resistant. This is still 200 meters water resistant. At any rate, it meets the criteria, okay, of a good dive watch. However, I'm not gonna use this as a dive watch anyway. That's what my G-Shock is for. Anyway, so this is more of actually a dress watch. Look at the indices. Look at how beautiful that the indices are. For the money, it's such a beautiful watch. Now, admittedly, I don't like the stamped clamping style. This is where they've probably saved money. But admittedly, for 700 Australian dollars shipped, that this is a lot of watch, and as I actually use it for work, it actually looks like a dress watch. I use it as a dress watch because it's so refined. Now, what are the details of this watch? Okay, now its case size is 43.8, stainless steel, 200-meter water resistance, not ISO's standard diver's watch because it doesn't have a screwing crown, but it's still 200 meters water resistance. That doesn't bother me. I'm not gonna use it anyway for diving and all, as I've mentioned before. At the 2 o'clock position, you pull it. That's actually, sorry. Let's go this way. Sorry, that was 4 o'clock. At the 2 o'clock position, you can pull out. Let me just do that. See? At the 2 o'clock position, you can see, you can move the internal bezel. And the 4 o'clock, that's where you use to move the time, day, and date. Okay, so I'll just fix it up later. And then, yep, crystal, if you can see, it captures the vintage sapphire crystal bubble top. The standard 2 o'clock and 4 o'clock crowns. The 2 o'clock moves the internal bezel as I've shown you, and the 4 o'clock takes care of the time, day, and date. Stainless steel bracelet, steel band, and the Orient. Nothing to the stainless steel bracelet is solid links. It's got integrated bracelet. Nicely done for the price again. The price is roughly about 720 Australian dollars, amount that I paid. Let's just center this. Now, lug to lug is, let me just get this right. Lug to lug is 20 millimeters, so it's easy. I actually changed this to a brown strap and a black strap. I also tried it on a band strap. It looks very good. It's a strap monster. It will really look good in a lot of variety of straps. The case back has a skin diver with a spear gun in action, similar to the 1965 original, and an additional 70th anniversary writing. So it's really so cool, you know. Yeah, it's very nice. Okay, now let's try it. Let's try it on the wrist. Now, wrist check. I just reviewed this for my very first review. You guys know all this. That's the Tudor Ranger 2022 version. Okay, so see, with a T-fit clasp. So you guys know this already. So I'm just okay. So that's wrist check. Let's put this down. Beautiful. See, as I've mentioned with the lugs, they're so tight inward, unlike the Longines Legend Diver, which is one of my favorites too. I'll still probably buy the 36mm version if I had the money. Right now I'm a bit tight, so it can wait. But that's it. That's wrist check. Beautiful JDM. Can't go wrong. So yeah, you can see I think it's 12.7. It's not that tall, so it's perfect. Again, I've got like a 17.1 centimeter wrist. Not that big of Mr. Average, you know. But look, that's a 43.8 millimeter size, but it fits well. The lugs are well within my wrist. Now, the Longines Legend Diver, the lugs are so spread out, it has an overhang, and it was a problem. So, yeah. All right, I think that's it for me. Weekly Auto Orient. Thank you for my subscribers, you know. This is just my second video. Please like, comment, and subscribe. I'm going to continue to make videos, reviews of my favorite watches, the watches I own and I bought, why I bought it. It's such a great therapeutic release to talk about watches. Admittedly, only a few of my friends know that I'm making watch vlogs. A lot of my cyclist mates don't even know I'm into watches, except for two. So yeah, please like, comment, subscribe. If there's something I missed, suggest. If there's something that you would like to talk about, let's talk about watches. Thank you. Bye.